Leaders and legacy in style, divine masculine and feminine. Woo, I love that. Isn't that a great way to start the week off? I am Joy Ruffin, and the work that I do is as a leadership and signature style specialist. And every week we bring to you a featured guest speaker who comes to share their love, their wisdom, and their knowledge with you, hopefully to ignite, inspire, and instill something in you that will get you going, maybe on a new or a different or segue to a different way of doing something. It's always fascinating and always interesting to me, and the prayer is that it will be for you as well. The women that I work with are all about leadership, first of self, and then inspiring and working with others. And today, my gracious goodness, as someone said many, many moons ago, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's always good to have you here. But the art of storytelling. How do you master the art of storytelling? With a strategic storypreneur is what we're going to do today. I love the way, I don't know if she made up that name. I don't think I've seen it before, but that's something that I really want. I always forget to shut my phone off, and there we go. I love live television. Anyway, the point is, this featured guest is going to share a lot with us about how you master the art of storytelling. And I don't think there's anyone in any type of business who doesn't want to know how to do that. So I want you to sit back and listen to first a little bit about what I want to share with you. She's all about how you master the art of storytelling and how you can transform your story into one that will ignite and inspire others. And that's what you want, to be more engaging with the people that you're working with. Her story is fascinating, and I could go on and share it with you, but I was mesmerized by it when I first heard it. So all I want you to do is just sit back and relax, and then help me to welcome our featured guest speaker, Leslie Capps. Leslie, come on up, as they say. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, Joyce. Always such a pleasure to be in your world.
The pleasure is mine, my love. The pleasure is mine, because what you're doing fascinates me. Because the storytelling, I know how vital and important it is, but it's not my wheelhouse, but it will be, because I'm going to learn a lot from you. How did you get into this? And I love the name you gave it. I'd heard it before, but it resonated with you. A storypreneur. Tell us how you came to that.
Well, I actually had not thought about this, and I was on a podcast a while back, and they asked me the same question. I'm like, I got to think about that. But really, it started with my dad. So we sat around the dinner table, and we gave him so much grief. That was lesson 495, and that was lecture 64. And because he wanted to share with us, he was in sales, and he read sales books and marketing books and leadership books. And he always created these stories around him, right? Which we poo-pooed and made lots of fun of. But it stuck with me as I moved out into the world, because I've always been intrigued by other people's stories. And it fascinated me to travel. And we are so like every other person on the face of the planet, in the sense that we want to tell people stories, and we want our stories to be heard. So that's really had this super strong foundation in it. And like a series of events, right, brought me back to it to connect it with marketing and online businesses.
That explanation is so spot on, because I cannot tell you, Leslie, and you already know this, everyone does in a different way, how many times I've heard my dad, my mom, one or the other. Usually it could be others, but that's 99.9% of the time. So I really get it. And then your dad was in sales, and storytelling, when you're good at it, that's what it's about. I love the title of your book, Turn Your Story into Business Gold. Well, who doesn't want to do that? But tell us what I'm fascinated by, and usually what I'm fascinated by, zillions of others are as well. How did you get to and I'd never even heard of this before, so you have to give us a little bit of a data about it, Oscars Enchant Gifting Lounge, to promote your book? How did you get there?
Right. Well, it's a web, right? It's all a story.
Yes.
Because I did not have a book. And through a connection, she called me up. I had been in a collaborative book with her, and she said, "Do you have a book?" And I was like, "No, blah, blah, blah." And she said, "Well, if I put your name forward, would you be interested in writing one to take to an Oscars Gifting Lounge?" Yeah, that's one of those moments you're like, I could have never imagined putting that on my vision board. I don't know who would. Yeah, right. Pick me.
Uh-huh.
So, and I knew it'd be a super, super tight, like to squeeze it in. And so I pitched an idea for a book. It actually was a different title, which is funny. The business gold came after knowing it was going to the Oscars and that kind of thing. I don't know that I did it intentional, but I'm thinking it was, a higher power connection there that created that name. So I pitched
Fascinating.
her book. The gal said, I love it. And then I went to writing a book. Um,
Wow.
had to get it done. Like, wrote it in about 30 days. It took like 45, almost 60 to get it up on Amazon. But I had to have physical copies to her the 1st of January. And then took it to Gifting Lounge, which I did not even know these existed. But, if anybody gets a chance, you should absolutely say, heck yes. People said to me, don't you have to consider your time or your resources? And I was like, no, I don't know where this will lead me, but this is sure an exciting door that can take me places that I can't even imagine. So I'm absolutely doing whatever it takes to get there.
Oh my God, Leslie, I have to back you up a wee bit. I was mesmerized by the story, and now it's beyond fascinating because what you said when you started off to tell the story is what I want to hear more about. You did mention the web, but how did she get to you to ask you, and you hadn't even written the book yet? How did that come up? How did she get to you and ask you to write a book, and why did she come to you? I got the web, but I need to hear more.
Well, so she wanted to, and like, I love her, right? Because she's very strategic in the sense of the people that she invited the gifting lounge. She had drinks, like alcoholic and non-alcoholic. She had clothing. She had sunscreen.
Oh,
So like for her, it's an experience, right? And she wanted
yes.
to have some books there as well, because
Uh-huh.
people could be having a drink, putting on their sunscreen, wearing their streetwear, and reading a book, right? Like, it's a whole thing. And honestly, it was because I knew I had collaborated on a book that another woman had done. I've been like a raving fan in her community,
Ah,
and
okay.
so created a relationship with her.
Uh-huh.
So when Heather said to the other woman, Deb, like, do you know any authors? Deb said, let me reach out to some people. So Heather was taking a little bit on faith that when I signed on, I could actually produce a book for her in that time span. But, that was also part of the pitch.
My lady, that's exactly how it goes. I think sometimes we forget how when you're doing your engagement and you're meeting and greeting with people, you never know what introduction is going to lead to another. And this person that you're talking about, Heather, from what I can see, she's very innovative, and she was looking to present an event where it would be a variety of different things going on that everybody would find a little bit of something for themselves there. That's very innovative and created beyond, and that I can see why. And so then again, tell us a little bit more, even though you mentioned it, but I want to hear more about this lady came to you first, Deb, and then Deb introduced you to Heather, and then you wrote the book. So what time span did you, because with AI now, everybody's writing a book. But I know that you did not do that, or if you did it from your own creative experience. But tell us again about the time span between when you received the notice to write the book and now that it's published and on Amazon. Share a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it was literally almost 30 days, maybe 31 when it came down to it.
Uh,
So I knew, right, going in, I had to have a plan. I
yeah.
am not a great typist. I like to walk around when I'm thinking.
Uh-huh.
So I spoke the phone into software, or spoke the story into software, came
Mm-hmm.
in and had it translated on my computer. So I had like this base that I could work with pretty quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also like knew the editing would be the hardest part. I had to get through at least 4 edits to make it cohesive, to make it understandable. The other thing I did that I would highly recommend is have beta readers, because
Yes.
people were reading alongside me as I was writing, basically. And they
Ah,
would say, oh, like, I don't get this, or stuff like that, that really helped me get clear on, one, my audience, two, and rate the level that I was writing for. So
yes.
yeah, I ended up backing up sometimes and going, okay, I need to start here where I would have jumped to here just in my brain. So that kept me very centered. And then, yeah, the crazy of honestly going to the Oscars. What a amazing event! You know, you're meeting celebrities, media. But again, at the end of the day, we're all people. They
Yes,
came
yes,
there to connect with people. And
yes.
so, right, just being who you are and loving
Mhm.
being in that environment. It's one of those things, like, it's such a high because it's
Yeah.
such a high vibe. You know, it's music and people are happy, and um, they a party that goes on for 6 hours is basically what it was. That you're like, I don't ever want to leave that. I want to be in that space all the time. So
I get it. I really have received it. And the red carpet, however you dice and slice and splice it up, it's an event that is and can be life-changing for many people, regardless of what area you're in that movie setting scene. But you know, you mentioned something, Leslie. I know the word because I just did my research on something beta, but I hadn't heard of beta readers, beta, BETA readers. And I think I know what it is, but I want you to explain it a little bit more to us. What is a beta reader?
sure. Um, yeah, it's somebody that's reading pre, even pre your final edition, right? Like, they're
Mm.
reading the ugly stuff. I think you have to get through at least 3 revisions to get to anything that's sort of worthwhile. So they're reading all that kind of grunt work, if you will.
And
Uh,
how do they come to you? How do you acquire
I,
them? Where do
you,
they?
yeah, I reached out to people I knew and people that were in
That's better to me
marketing
is the
or
beginning of
storytelling.
something.
Yep, who had some interest in the topic and were willing to play along with me, right?
I like that because your topic would be appealing to, as my momsy would say, anybody with half a brain, turn your story into business gold. I love that. Turn your business into business gold. And the next step from gold will be platinum, but the title is just engaging. So I like that. And then you gave me something about how do you, in your storytelling, in this book that you wrote, how do you balance out the masculine and the feminine in a book or a story like this?
Right? I think that's such an interesting topic. When we come into business, it has traditionally been a very
Yeah.
masculine place.
Hmm. Hmm.
We're discouraged from sharing stories, if you will. I mean, unless they're in a very businessy kind of sense, right?
Hmm.
But more people have come on to the online space, more women particularly.
Yes.
And we're losing something if we don't connect with people emotionally. I've always found it fascinating because I've done a bunch of sales training that we know in sales that every decision is emotional and
Yes.
we back it up with logic. So why do we front end load end logic instead of creating emotion, where
Ooh.
we just give somebody a slice of what we're about? We don't need to give them the whole story. And I say suffering is optional. You know, you don't need to have the
Uh,
big long windy hero's journey, because if I ever hear that again, like, I want to stab my eye out with a fork. It doesn't have to be that, but we need to show a little bit of who we are so that people connect with us, because there's lots of people out there. That's the thing. The easiest way to stand out is really getting clear on what makes you unique and what you do for people that's unique.
Great explanation. Leslie, that's as far as the divine masculine and the feminine and how it's connected and aligned and why we all need to utilize it. And when you said emotionally, we all know that. And now it's time for us to blink, male or female, to bring more of that emotional in, male to bring theirs in and female to bring theirs and balance it out. Don't get carried away too much with the emotions. Let's keep a balance. Balance is a key word here. I loved your explanation. The way that you've written this book, I have to confess, I haven't read it, but I'm going to. And when I do, I will definitely give you a review on that because I know it's going to be a good book. What I'm going to do now is take a quick little reset, and then I'm going to come back to it. And we're going to talk about limiting beliefs and how you impose your narrative around that without utilizing it, using it in a way that's not woe with me. That's what we're going to talk about. So hold tight. I have to tell you guys, I love, 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 love what Leslie is sharing with us, because we all have a story. I have mine, you have yours. And she has put her passion and love into supporting those who want to learn how to do it in the best way, So that said, if you're not a member of my Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies Facebook group, well, that's where you belong. Leslie is there, and so many other women. We're building a community of women who are all about the divine, masculine and the feminine, and it's about balance. And it's not about knocking one or the other. It's about balance. So all you need to do is go there and join, because we need you. We want your vision, your mission, and your purpose, because it matters no matter what the work is, the passion is that you're about. So join us there. Now, Leslie and I both belong to this great community. We're both avid fans, more so, because it's the Great Discovery. And this every weeknight, Monday through Friday, you can go there at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll get a feel for what it's all about. And then you can decide about whether or not you want to be a member. We are, and we both are very much engaged with it. I'm just starting to get my wings there, but Leslie is very knowing about it. So this is a group that you want to be a part of. And here is her graphic. Now, what we're going to do is be scrolling across her website, her email, and other information so you can get to Amazon and purchase this book. Access the first 2 chapters for free. I don't know how she's going to be doing this, but she's got something here. Website, the storytelling, you go there and you'll be able to find out exactly how. I love the title and the graphic. Turn your story into business gold. I don't know anybody on the planet who doesn't want that. Even if you have it, you really want to learn how to increase it and keep your humility. That's the key. That said, Leslie, I can't wait to read this book, and I will. But I don't say anything that I don't sooner or later follow up on. How do we get to rewrite limiting narratives that hold us back? Because most everyone has had them or have them at some degree, at one degree or another. So how do you tap dance around that with people?
Yes. Right. Oh my gosh. The onion, peeling the onion. Every time I think I peeled a layer, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 20 more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the beautiful thing about stories, and I found this with my own stories, right? There were stories I told that people's eyes rolled back. They didn't get it. And I started looking at those, and it was because I needed to heal from that part of the story.
Yes.
There was something within the story that was valuable, but the way I told it, the part I told, was for me. And really, when you want to use your story strategically, you need to think about what is my goal for the other person? And, you know, we all get wigged out. We're like, I'm not a salesperson. That's not the goal I'm talking about. The goal is, what is the next door that they could open so they could take one more step with you? And that should be your goal with a story. So in that sense, it not only brings it in, because your goal is now reaching the other person. It's not about me when I tell a story, right? It's about the other person. And 2, it helps us define that emotion level. I know a fabulous woman, like I love her to death, but she would tell this story about being homeless with her 2 dogs. I mean, it was really intense, and she was still living it. And then she'd say at the end, and I found this company that pulled me out of that, and I'm off to the races. Emotionally, no one is going to buy from her because she left us down in that bottom.
Yes.
Right? She needed to pick us up and then give us a proposal instead of just leaving us hanging there. And again, if she had thought about what is my goal with telling this story, it would have helped her reframe that, because her goal wasn't to leave us there. She just didn't know any better.
Leslie, oh my goodness, you're going to become my new best friend, because you nailed it. And no, everybody maybe can listen to the Woe With Me story, but again, you don't leave them there. And the key that you gave us is, what is the goal for the other person or the other people that you're writing this book for? So your title in itself, what you gave us, turn your story into business gold, because your story is to inspire, ignite, and enlighten somebody else. It's about you, but the aim, the goal is to do that. So that
Right.
in itself is very, very powerful. Now, tell us, how do you, I think you gave us this already, but expound on it a wee bit more. How do you leverage your story to build influence? And one of my favorite words, and it's not because I'm a happy senior, is legacy. Because we're all here to leave some type of legacy, and hopefully a loving legacy. So how do you help people do that? Leverage their stories.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love you that you said that, right? Because especially as women,
Yes.
we really have this desire to be purpose driven, to create a
Mhm.
better world, to
Mhm.
make change, to not like retire, honestly, right? We're still creating, we're still vibrant, we still want to make a difference in the world. And I
Yes.
think it's such a fabulous trait for women to
Hmm.
have. And how do we take our yeah, there I got all scrolled off on my inspirational, right? So
Okay. Leverage. Yeah.
leverage, that's right. How do we leverage? Well, Joy really talked about this a little bit in the sense of courses. Taking, if you've got a book, then creating into a course. If you have courses, creating a book. Speaking. There's so many different ways, and we get really stuck, and that would be a limiting story, right? I
Hmm.
think it's hard on the online space. You hear lots of stories. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to be on 14 platforms and this and this and this. Nope. You got to keep it simple and figure out what it is that lights you up. And
Hmm.
then how do you use that in multiple ways? So not only on social media, like if you're going to do that, figure out a way that you can link your accounts. And so you're only posting minimal times, right? Or only
Hmm.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you hate Facebook, don't be on Facebook. There is no, which maybe is hard and freeing kind of in the same moment. There is no one set formula that works for everybody. Listen, I've
Exactly.
taken gazillion courses, spent tens of thousands of dollars. I guarantee you there's not a single way, and that you have everything you need in you. It's just unlocking that uniqueness, and how do we then speak that out into the world? So yeah, that leverage piece is really about figuring out what it is that trips your trigger. Like, I know I'm going to write more books. That was totally my jam. That was the happiest 30 days ever, right? Me walking around in the garage, speaking into my phone.
Uh,
Um,
I
so,
love that.
yeah. But then how do I use that so that I reach a bigger and bigger audience? Because
Hmm.
that really is the goal of media of any kind, is expanding our world so we can touch more people. Because if you just sit here and you just talk on Facebook, it's very limiting. You're not going to be able to create that impact that you're looking for, a legacy.
And you know what? I think I always assume, but never for anyone except myself, and not even for myself. I don't assume for other people. But this word, the way that you just expressed what you did, that's why you and I both are a part of the Great Discovery, because it's global and it's really a great platform for that. But in conjunction, you said keep it simple and not the woe with me story. And if you want to build influence, you decide on what it is that you really want to deliver, and then you deliver it from your heart and soul. And you know
Right.
what? I'm going to leave you with this because I know you'll appreciate this. I heard the other day, I knew it. And when it was said, it resonated with me. Your body does not have a soul. Your soul has a body. Now, that is so deep. I knew that, but when I heard the verbiage, it really resonated. And what you're saying to us about how you build leverage and build influence and attract legacy, that's exactly how you do it. You become true to who you are and what you're
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
What?
And every opportunity, right, to say yes and step into something
Yes.
bigger, you take that because you know you're going to have to grow into that.
Yes.
And that's also a beautiful part about story, because I a lot of times have people come who
Hmm.
say, I want to do something bigger, right? And how do we do that? Well, we create the story, your own personal Sasha Fierce, if you will, your
Yes.
own template that now you follow, and now you become bigger because you had to step into something. Um, that was the beauty of going to the Oscars, writing a book in 30 days. I didn't know if I could do it. And there were certainly moments I was like, what am I doing? I'm a crazy person. But I just went on, accomplished that, went to the Oscars, and came out a changed person. And I knew I would, right? I knew even writing a book, I would be a different person.
I
So
love
always moving to that bigger
right.
I don't want to say better, because I think we're, like I said, perfect now, but that
Yeah.
bolder or more peaceful, whatever that version is for you, is moving towards that.
Ah, you are very graphic and descriptive with your words, and I could listen to you all the time. But I want to leave with this, because I heard what you said to us in the beginning about your dad. It was in sales, and the story you gave us all this juice about how you do your storytelling. So what I want to end with is, how did you put yourself into your book, turn your story into business gold? How did you put your story, hearing the stories from your dad and doing all your reading and research, what parts of you are in this book?
Right? That's very interesting, because I tend to really focus on the other person. But I
Yeah.
think that if you read this book after hearing me talking,
Yes, yes.
you will hear my voice. And that is really what I wanted to do,
Oh,
because
love
not
that.
only do I want to convince you that your story is the most powerful, now I want to empower you to really embrace that story. There's a whole chapter on mindset, because I'm huge on mindset. Honestly, when the 30 days I'm writing a book, people will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm meditating, I'm visualizing, I'm breathing, I'm like doing mindset," even though like I got 2 chapters I have to get done today, because I knew if I didn't take that time, I would not accomplish the goal. So yeah, I really, part of the book, I think that's the part of me that is in the book, is that cheerleader part.
Ah, I love that. Leslie, let me tell you something else. You don't have to wear your tiara, but I want you to be aware of this. I kept up and abreast of everything that you were doing while you were at the Oscars, and what you posted before, after, and so on and so forth. And here's what I want to leave you with. And you will not put on your tiara, because I know that it's already there. But this you need to hear from another voice. You came away admiring, appreciative, and you enjoyed it, but you weren't tainted by it in a negative way, which so many times when it comes to the entertainment industry, this big, vast conglomerate of everything, sometimes that can happen. And I know you enough to know that didn't happen to you. So kudos to you.
Oh,
Kudos to
well,
you.
well, thank you. Thank you.
No, it's true, because that entertainment industry and the red carpet, everything is changing, but it can really turn people in another direction. And you kept your true soul. What words of wisdom? What does you want us to take away from this whole experience that you've had, and what you're having now, and what you continue to have? What do you want people to walk away with? What do you want it to leave us with?
Sure. That's, you guys know that already, right? That I have a lot of words in my head, so it's always hard for me to suss it down. But I really think, 2 things. One, it is dream big, because if I can accomplish it, you absolutely can. And I don't mean like vision board dream, because again, I never would have had the Oscars. I mean, dream as big as you can imagine, of impact, influence, and
Mhm.
not so much how it looks, just that you want that and you will kick down a door to get that. And
Mhm.
then the other thing I would say is your message really does matter. There are people out there who need what you're doing, and they're waiting to hear from you. So getting clear on that and practicing it, right? Because just like writing a book, first couple times is going to be ugly. Being okay with that and just going on.
Mhm. I don't think you could have ended in a better way, my friend, because what you left us with, dream big. Who really truly wants to dream small? I mean, not, you might do it, but you don't want to, for whatever reason. Dream big, and your message and the vision that you have, it does matter. And the other thing I can say, in aligning with what you're saying here, is align yourself with people who will support and help you and guide you in the best way, in love. So once you do that, you're on the right path. And that's what I'm doing now with all these beautiful souls that I'm connected with. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My engineer is going to scoot you in the green room, and I'll be with you in a second. Thank you so much. It was delicious, delicious. What can I say? The time goes here too quickly. And don't I say it every week? Of course I do. This lady is full of information that can only benefit you. So make sure you take a screenshot and a snapshot, or get this video and make sure you purchase her book. Turn your story into business gold, because that's what we all want. And this is the beginning of a new week here. And tomorrow we're in April already. Can you believe it? Woo! It's hard to believe, but that's the truth. In the meantime, be and stay well. We're taking a little hiatus again, always to get away and to get back to you with new and more interesting and exciting. And that's what we'll be doing in May. But in the meantime, I'll be coming back and forth during the month of April. But until we meet again, sending you always much, much love from my heart to yours. All the best. Be and stay well. Take care of you first so that you can look after all the other people that need your love and your wisdom, as Leslie left us with that message. Take care, my friends. Much love. Cheers.